Most of us know the Christmas card version of Mary, serene, glowing, and bathed in soft starlight. But that image fades when you look at the actual historical dirt she stood on. This was first-century Judea, a dusty, heavily militarized zone under the thumb of an empire. She was a young woman living through a brutal Roman occupation. Her community was policed, overtaxed, and stripped of political agency. Every aspect of her daily life was shaped by a system that viewed her people as a resource to be extracted, rather than a population to be served. Theologian Howard Thurman examined this specific environment when he spoke of the religion of Jesus. He noted it was born among those with their backs against the wall, the people who had to find a way to maintain their dignity and survive when the system was designed to crush them. When viewed through this lens, Mary's story becomes a study in survival. She provides a map for solidarity and persistence, showing how one woman navigated impossible odds when the world around her was in constant flux. Modern culture often demands that influence be loud. We are told that to matter, to be an activist or a leader, you have to be the most visible person in the room, broadcasting every thought and reaction to a waiting audience. But this constant demand for performance often masks a lack of staying power. It's easy to be loud when the spotlight is on, but much harder to remain present when the crisis moves into the long, quiet grind of reality. Mary operated with a different logic. She understood that for those living on the margins, real strength doesn't come from noise. It comes from unshakable loyalty and a strategic, quiet presence that outlasts the crowd. When Mary accepted her calling, she did so knowing the social cost. In a small town where reputation was the only currency, an unexplained pregnancy was a direct threat to her survival. She accepted the risk of whispers and public shame without needing a guarantee of safety. Even when the miraculous occurred, she didn't rush to join the noise. Look at the scale of Bethlehem during the census. It was a chaotic, crowded press of people. After the shepherds arrived with stories of angels, Mary didn't run to the village square to boast. Instead, she treasured these things and pondered them in her heart. This deep internal processing is a vital survival tool. By shielding her thoughts, she ensured that her vision wasn't consumed by the public or distorted by outside opinions before it was ready. She kept it in a space where it could be protected and processed. This is the first pillar of her solidarity, the discipline of maturing a vision in private. She didn't seek validation from the crowd. She found it in the stillness. 30 years later, Mary is at a wedding in Cana when the wine runs out. This was more than an awkward moment. It was a social disaster that could lead to lasting shame for the family. Mary is the one who notices the crisis while the celebration is still moving. She didn't amplify the drama or draw attention to the family's failure. She exercised a quiet, decisive agency. She identified the problem, went to the one person who could fix it, and set the stage for a solution without centering herself in the narrative. She told the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." This was intercession used as social agency, acting as a bridge between a community's desperate need and the source of the solution. She didn't need to control the outcome. She only needed to prepare the environment for it. Effective leadership on the margins looks exactly like this. It is about acting as a catalyst for a solution, rather than a magnifying glass for the drama. At the crucifixion, the movement Mary had watched grow for 3 decades appeared to be in total collapse. The male disciples, fearing they would be next on a Roman cross, scattered and went into hiding. But Mary was there, standing at the foot of the cross. She was enduring the absolute worst day of her life, watching her son die, yet she chose to remain. Her presence was a refusal to leave him alone in his suffering. This was a profound act of resistance. The empire used crucifixion as a tool of state-sponsored terror, meant to break the will of the people and make them look away. By staying, Mary was refusing to be terrorized. She was refusing to abandon the oppressed. Real loyalty is proven when the systems of power are at their most threatening, when the movement is failing and the room clears out. The only power left is the choice to stay. Mary was present for the miraculous beginning, the joyful middle, and the devastating end. Because she didn't leave when the season changed from celebration to sorrow, she became the anchor for the next chapter of the story in the upper room. This timeline shows the cost of what we might call a long assignment. It requires a specific kind of psychological durability, the ability to maintain faithfulness through the highest peaks and the deepest valleys. It is this endurance that earns the trust required for a legacy. The greatest responsibilities are often handed to those with this kind of staying power. Mary's life suggests that God values the person who shows up for the entire story far more than the one who only shows up for the highlights. Mary's life is mirrored today by the mothers, the activists, and the quiet pillars who hold marginalized communities together. They are the ones who stay when it's hard, ponder when it's loud, and act when it's necessary. We are challenged to follow that same pattern, to reject a culture of performance, to mature our visions in the quiet, and to keep showing up for the people we love when everyone else has walked away. Say yes to the assignment, stay present through the quiet middle, and refuse to leave early. Unshakable loyalty remains the most powerful force for lasting change.